Hey guys, what's going on? Today we are going to take apart this knife right here and have a look inside the Quiet Carry Drift. What's so special about this knife is it's made with a steel called, let's see if I can get it on there, Vanex, which is supposed to be 100% rust proof because I think it's like nitrogen based or hydrogen based, something like that, instead of carbon based steel. And then the screws, the wire clip, everything else is made of LC200N, I think it's called. And yeah, so we're going to take a look at this knife. I'm going to try not to do any reviewing at the moment because although I really like this knife, man, it's got some frustrations for me too. But let's dive right into it. The nice thing that they did do that's really good on this, well, it's all Chicago screws. So that's really nice, which means this is like a sleeve with a screw that screws into the other side. So if something strips out, that's all you got to replace instead of the whole screw. I think these are made in Taiwan, if I'm correct. They don't really say on their website, but that's what their rumor is. And you only need one size Torx, so it's a number 8, and that makes it easy. One of the things I don't like though is they got the clip screw is also one of the screws that hold it together. But anyway, let's go for it. Oh boy. Okay, there's another thing I don't like about it. There we go. This isn't my first time taking it apart, but I don't remember Loctiting that. I don't know why it's so tight. Gee whiz, but oh, now I remember. These are, I don't think these are Loctited. Maybe a little tiny bit, but the screws on these are really shallow. In other words, the bit doesn't go in there very far. To me, that's kind of dumb, but whatever. It is what it is. Pivot screw. It does have, the pivot is captured on one side, so that's nice. Let's take those and we'll put them over there out of the way. And bingo bango, it pops right apart. And it does need some cleaning. So, talks amongst yourselves for a second while I grab a cleaning cloth. There we go. One of the things you can see right away is they really mill this out, which makes it very lightweight. They do a lot of milling. And this knife is cruddy. I use this knife at work a lot, and I work in a dusty environment. But it's kind of what it's made for. So, because it's phosphor bronze washers instead of bearings. And I want to do something. I want to swap. Okay, this washer's going to go back on that scale. And this washer's going to go back on the other scale because I had centering issues with this knife. And so I want to see if swapping out the washers helps, because sometimes that does help. My normal cleaner also makes for corrosion resistance, which we don't need on this knife, but it's still a great cleaner. So give it a squirt. With phosphor bronze, you can use other stuff besides oil. They make greases that work for phosphor bronze. Lithium grease is what they recommend for Chris Reeve knives for phosphorus bronze. You can see how that's polished. It's starting to wear in, break in, and develop polish on there, which is good. Something that you will see that I'm not real appreciative is, see those scratches? This steel, in my opinion, scratches easier than most. I'm going to take out that stop pin for a second. I'm trying to leave the backspacer on. I don't really need to take the backspacer off. Looks good. And they mill both sides really well. Lots of good milling. That's good. And there goes that clip screw. It's all right. It's still in there, which is where we want it. Clean up that pivot. Like I said, all these screws and things are supposed to be LC200N, which is also a very rust resistant steel, which I have not used. So, and sometimes I'll take newspaper and clean these up on a piece of paper, but I'm not going to do that right now. They don't really need polished. They don't really need polished because they seem, the action, like I said, seems to be pretty good. Like I said, my biggest issue with this knife so far has been centering. Has been a problem. So here we go. All right. Looks really good inside. I don't see any special numbering or anything in there. So there you can see where it says LC200N. That is your blade interface and over travel stop. So you can't overextend the lock bar and bend it out of place. It is an interior cutout instead of an exterior cutout. So I don't know if I have a knife handy with the exterior cutout on it. Nope, all interior. So that's nice. We're going to put the pivot screw back in to the show side. And I'm going to use KPL on this. They said with washers, you can use lots of different things. Oopsie, sorry, didn't mean to bump the camera. I'm going to put the stop pin on there. And I'm going to put this washer on there. Like so. And I'm going to put the blade on there. Like so. Like I've pointed out before, this has a, not on this knife, but on other knives, the way it interfaces with the stop pin. I'll give you a close up here real quick. The way this interfaces with the stop pin, it kind of wraps around a little bit instead of just flat up against it. So that's a good thing. And there you get a close up of that milling. Obviously they can't get rid of all these milling marks. That would be a lot of extra work and very expensive, but that's okay. Drop in there. Let's see. If I need anything else. Nope, that looks good. All right. Put this on there. Get this screw here that's in the clip to get back in its hole. It belongs. And I'm not going to tighten it all the way right now. I'm just going to give it a, like so. And it's not even very snug because I still have to seat the blade all the way. I'm going to give this a light tightening without seating it all the way. Like so. Just back up just a little bit. Now I'm going to relieve the lock bar pressure, and there it goes. Everything's seated very nicely. That's good. Now, pivot screw And I'm not using, there's already some Loctite still on the screw, so I'm not going to put any new stuff on there. I have not had issues with this. Oh, look at that. Wah, wah, wah. I forgot a washer. You guys are supposed to tell me about that kind of stuff. Toad sticker. Forgot a washer. Are you ignorant? Maybe just a little bit. It happens. If anybody on here has ever spent much time putting together, taking apart knives, you cannot tell me that you've never forgotten a washer or a set of bearings or something. Like that. This knife has gotten a lot of popularity. It's very popular amongst a lot of people. I know Nick Shabazz was very close to wanting to make this a knife of the year 1 year. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before. Not that that's the end all be all of making knives great, but that does give it pretty high credit. But everybody I know that's ever owned one or handled one just rants and raves about how amazing it is, and I'm torn. My opinion. There's a lot of good here. There's a lot of good here. Like, it is a great little knife. But in my experience, I've had issues, just some issues. Let's tighten that down really good. Tighten that down really good. Oh, that's way too tight. Sorry, bumped the camera again. Now it's way too loose. And this is where it's always a challenge. Let's get that pivot. See, it's not even going to center. Nope. All right, let's loosen that. Loosen that. Oh, geez. These shallow screws are... I really appreciate the fact that they use T8 screws, but man, so shallow. Let's move that all the way over and pin it like that. Nope, way too tight. All right, well, let's swap those washers back around. Or let's see if we just don't have it. That's pretty good right there. I'm wondering if the reason these screws grab so good is that LC200N is maybe a little softer than regular hardened screws. It's way too tight. That's better. It's got really good lockup, listen. It really clicks in there good. At about 50%, which is good. On frame lock, I like that. Centering's off. Ag! Now the centering's almost on, but the action is terrible. All right. Let's try swapping those washers back around. We're going to take it back apart. Oh, man. See, that's the thing is you have to get the screws so tight on this thing to get the centering to be good. You can't go too loose or it doesn't work. And I don't know. It's just a knife of frustration. Let's do that. What would be really good is if they went like with a Chris Reeve style pivot. Would be way better. Which is, there's a sleeve on the outside of the pivot that also spins. And so, and then the tolerances are set up just right. So when you tighten the knife together, it just tightens up just right. And you can't over tighten it to the point where you don't get good action. But you can tighten it enough that you can make the blade center like it's supposed to. And I'm sorry if you're looking at the back of my hand too much. All right. So one trick you can do is you can fold up a piece of paper or something. If we got something that'll work just fine right here. Toss amongst yourselves again. As you could take something and stuff it in there like that. See, that holds it towards the side that I'm trying to get the blade to. And then I can loosen the screws up. Get everything nice and loose. And now begin to tighten everything back down again. Still not centered. That looks really good. Way too tight. Still way too tight. Now it's not centered just right. And it's a little bit loose. So touchy. Good lockup. And pretty close. Pretty close. Maybe my blade's just not ground. That's still a little bit, tiny bit off. It could just be that my blade's not ground. Centered. They could have sent it to Benchmade to get it ground. I don't know. That's a joke. Can't do that on camera. Flick it a few times and see what happens. I can feel it loosening up a little bit. And I think that's about as, that's terrible. I have a real OCD when it comes to centering. It drives me crazy if a knife doesn't center all on its own. And this knife at $350 or whatever it is now. See, that's where I have issues with this knife, is they did so much other stuff on here so stinking well. That for it to not center is just not good, in my opinion. Like, centering is one of the most basic things. A knife should be able to do. That's pretty close right there. And that's okay action. It's off a little bit. Now it's past just a little bit. It's just super touchy. Frustrating. All right, well, that's where we're leaving it right there. It's not great action, and it's okay centering. What can I say? I don't know. I have tried every trick I know what to do, and that's that. I may have to actually maybe start sanding on those washers a little bit. I don't know. So I get it right. Sometimes you can sand the washer on the side that in the direction it needs to go, so it needs to go that way without quite so much tension. So I guess I would loosen or sand on this washer on this side right here. So I may have to do that next. I don't know. But there it is. A really overly long video on taking apart and putting back together the Quiet Carry drift in Vanex steel. So anyway, hope you all have a great day. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Take care. Toad Sticker out.